I hope everyone's doing well and welcome back to another weekly outlook. So cool. Bit of a funny week really, right? Very, very, one-sided. If you come on the weekly candle, we see quite a strong move up. We did expect a retracement this week anyways, right? Or around the mid-month mark. And we thought, potentially maybe a previous weekly high sweep going into this weekly fair value gap here. Maybe a move away. If we go on to daily chart, you guys can see initially, right, this volume imbalance actually lines up with that fair value gap. Price tapped into it, moved away, into it, moved away, tapped into it, moved away. A fourth time it does that, then on the fifth day, Friday, absolutely blasted higher. Now, it's not really a cause for concern or anything like that. The bias remains the same. All that it is, as we said, there was a good chance of a deeper retracement into this large range, right? Especially because we had such a one-sided move down. Now we've had, I would say almost an equally strong move up. Just a bit more, it's a bit more choppy. It's not as strong per se. So, from here, looking at this weekly candle, what's likely to happen? What should be paying attention to now? I'll definitely mark out this weekly order block in the premium, right? A bearish order block. It come down to, okay, then. So, and we know that lines up with a volume imbalance. There's a good chance we can sweep into this by, moving into this, we'd be sweeping the previous weekly high. And from there, we continue to look for DXY shorts, right? Very simple. I'm still bearish. We've approached the premium. It's very simple. From this, we just want to see, is it willing to kick a bit deeper into that OTE? And then we want to be looking for lower prices, essentially, right? Now, we'll come over here. This week, we actually have a good bit of news. On the Monday, there's not much going on. But on the Tuesday, we have CPI. On the Wednesday, we have PPI. And then on the Thursday, we have retail sales and I believe unemployment claims. Yeah, not much on the Friday. But that midweek is full of red folders and we are expecting movement in the markets. Now, one thing you guys probably have seen over the weekend is Trump's headline about enforcing sort of new tariffs on the EU. I believe the 30%. That is inherently going to cause strength in the DXY when they put these tariffs on, which is, again, not a bad thing. That's what we want to see for the time being when price opens. We want to move deeper into this premium. And then from there, I'd be expecting either the CPI, PPI, or some sort of other headline to come out and start propelling price downwards. Now, if we take a look at the monthly candle as well, one thing to note is after sweeping the previous monthly low, we've basically only moved up, right? So I'd say the likelihood is, we're around the mid-month mark that we can it's very possible that we are going to place the end of the range or the high of the month around this area, around the mid-month mark, and then begin that move away downwards. And I would be expecting a market maker sell model here, right? Very low resistance liquidity run. You guys can see massive trend line built up on the 1 hour. Once price has that, SMR potentially sweep this high, this, cluster of highs, then of course it should be a smooth ride down. The US 10-year, quite a strong move up. It's to do with the tariffs, right? We had an internal range sweep, took a bunch of sell side, and then we've had this big move up. Prices then left these equal lows and again pushed a bit higher. I do think these will get swept. Price may continue a bit higher, but I think, once we take this high, the odds are that we start a retracement and we will come and sweep these equal lows. In terms of a sort of larger bias, still nothing crazy. The monthly at the moment is not an inside candle, sorry. It swept the previous monthly low and traded sort of higher into that range, but I wouldn't be expecting any crazy moves. I do think it will just sort of stay in this boxed off consolidation area here. Nothing too interesting. Euro GBP now. Inherently, I'm expecting this pair to drop, despite me being bullish, right? One thing to note, and one thing I really wanted this week was actually a move into this discount. If we come over to 4 hour, we see very clearly that this was an accumulation. I was anticipating an accumulation, manipulation, distribution, very classic AMD. I would expect that this opens with a gap down. Now that the US has put those 30% tariffs on, and that headline was made yesterday on a Saturday while the market was closed, the odds are we close lower and we will come and sweep this internal liquidity, give that move in the discount, and then continue. Now, for me personally, that's, not the worst position to be in. if this pair can flip bearish. We're currently in a position on GBPUSD, you guys can see. Now, GBPUSD was the lagging pair. If we quickly take a look at Euro USD first, right? I'll show you guys why we took the position. You guys can see very clearly it did not hit the discount, and it was showing, you know, a lot more strength. But GU was positioned very well for us to hit a trade alongside DXY. So we hit a position from the 0.62. What's happened is we've had quite a strong move down. Now, I would expect this move down, right, while the DXY retraces, to be a bit slow. Because if EG gives us that flip that we're expecting, then GU will be showing strength, or rather, you know, GBP, the pound, will be showing strength. And even if, you know, the DXY continues to retrace deeper, this should probably either consolidate or just very, very slowly chop down. But I am still expecting a reverse from here. I don't expect this low to get swept by any means. And it's very classic, you know, we had accumulation, manipulation, new range built. From here, I'd expect continuation, and even higher time frame. We've got some good targets to play with. You know, lots of buy side targets we can pick off slowly, you know, starting from here and onwards, potentially even all the way up to the highs. But yeah, so that's just the only current position that we're in. Something that might potentially even give us a sort of re-entry or another chance on EU potentially this week, I'd be watching for, right, to stack a position. Take a look at, got a bunch of, I believe, CAD news folders this week as well. Now, USDCAD and USDJPY specifically, right? Two majors that I like to look at, but unfortunately nothing interesting. Even here, you guys can see, you know, failure to sort of take that low, build the new range. Instead, we're sort of stuck in this range, a bit consolidated. There's nothing too interesting. There's nothing I'd entertain. You know, really and truly, as much as we have clear target, the premise of us sort of making a trade or making a swing, we need clear swing points that we're happy to use. With us not taking this low, I wouldn't be as confident to say, you know, this high will hold. There's a good chance we could come and sweep this and then continue lower. So, you know, I'm not really interested in position on USDCAD, unfortunately, at the moment. USDJPY, pretty much very similar. I think on USDJPY, it's very obvious that we are going to come for the sell side at some point. Now, this is a daily chart that could take a little while. And you guys can see we have this sort of clustered buy side and, of course, much more clustered sell side. The odds are we want to see a buy side sweep. If we can come higher and sweep, you know, maybe even this high, and then see some good displacement down, maybe a good weekly close, then we can start talking about, okay, yeah, maybe this is the kick of the move towards this low. I believe the charts like this due to the indecisiveness of the Bank of Japan. So we're just seeing essentially a consolidation until they're a bit more firm on a decision in regards to their interest rates. Take a look at gold. If you guys remember from last week, we said, you know, we had a sweep, we had a good move up. We wanted to see the second leg of this move for us to entertain any longs. And what I'm interested in here for me to, you know, sort of consider taking any long is for price to continue building this ring. I want to see gold push higher, give us a nice sort of, you know, let's say the new OTE will be from this low to, let's just say, you know, wherever it places the high. But I'd be more confident taking a position like that, but not as this daily has closed. This daily has essentially respected this volume imbalance the same way this candle did, traded back in the range until we have a close above this, very obvious and nice, and then we can start hunting for a new retracement and potentially talk about new all-time highs. But at the moment, to me, this is a consolidation. You know, we've had a move within the consolidation, but nothing crazy in terms of a breakout, nothing where I'd like to position myself and say, you know, definitely heading high. S&P. Now, very, very small monthly candle so far, right? To know. Coming out weekly, we can see very small weekly candle past week as well. I would definitely be watching this weekly fair value gap. I think price is due a retracement. We do have this sort of daily range to play with. I'd mark it out like this, you know, for the time being. I think this is just how I would play it. For anyone that trades S&P, most likely be looking to let the CPI pass. You want to see what price does. You definitely want to see that previous weekly low sweep. I think it's very much in reach. The previous weekly low sweep is actually on this candle. But when you consider the proximity of, you know, that candle and the fair value gap, the odds are if we sweep this, we're probably headed lower into this. This is the area where I'd be looking for that reversal to then continue on higher. There's no need for sort of flipping bias just yet. And lastly, you covered everything. Bitcoin. Now, amazing chart. If you guys remember last year, we said, you know, from here where we were positioned on that daily, we'd had that, you know, sort of 3 drives pattern, the kick up. We said from here, this is the daily fair value gap we're watching. Price didn't reach this, but from here we wanted to see the move higher. Then we placed this sort of swing low. We said most likely the swing low will not get violated, and from here price will give us higher prices. You know? And it's gone and pushed to a new all-time high. It's at 118. I would mark out there 120k as a sort of, you know, we spoke about this last time as well, psychological level, let's say. From here, we have a weekly range to play with. We have a new weekly low. I would use this as a new anchor. That price sort of finish building the range now. For here, you know, for now, we're going to remain long. And once that is in place, then we can start talking about my retracing and whatnot. You see, with Bitcoin, I don't really swing trade, so I'm not, you know, sort of too wired in with the sort of medium time frames, the 4-hour daily and whatnot, because we don't need to be. Rather, I'll just look at it as a market. If you're involved in crypto, if Bitcoin is doing well, usually there's a sort of domino effect where the rest of the industry will then catch up and also start doing well. There's just something to watch. For you guys that do trade, of course, you want to be coming on your lower time frames, just finding any opportunities, any clear fair value gaps, anchors, etc. you can use to then go long when you have clear targets to work with. For the time being, you know, where we are at all-time high, I believe to an extent you'd be blindly longing. So until there's a good opportunity, I wouldn't really be looking for swings on here anyways. But yeah, guys, that is it for the weekly outlook. As usual, any questions at all, anything I can help with, please just drop me a message.